Hey guys, VEX is being released today in about an hour from now, and here is a mobile fire guide I wrote. I played her on the PBE a few times, and yeah, I like her. I'm going to be updating this mobile fire guide as time goes on, but this is my first impressions on her from when I played her on the PBE. I'm going to be playing her today on stream, so if you check that out, whenever I can get her, she'll probably be banned a lot. I'm going to try and play her. So anyways, let's get into it. This is the main build that I think is good right now. On another note, actually, before I get into the guide, I will also be testing a tank build on her. I've recently been playing a tank Nico build, which a video on that will be coming out on Monday. I might try a tank build on her too. It might be good with like Locket W Max with Guardian or something. So I might try that out. And if it's any good, it will be updated to the guide probably by next week. So, but for now, this is an AP guide. So enough gibbers, let's get into it. So to start off, a quick overview. I like Electrocute on her. I'm going to go more into the individual runes later, but I like Electrocute. It synergizes with her. She's a burst mage. You're not really playing her to poke, so I like Electrocute as it synergizes with that. But if you want to play her more in a poke play style, you can go Arcane Comment, but this is not what I would run, but this is playable if you prefer that. It's a little safer than Electrocute having to go in for the auto attacks. For summoners, you want to take Ignite to cancel out the enemy's heal, but if they have an all-in bot lane or a lot of assassins, you can take Exhaust. For the main build, it might seem weird. This is a high elo build, but I'll tell you for lower elos what you can do too. I like to rush Zhonya's first, which is why I take the perfect timing, because you usually want to ulti in, fear everyone in Zhonya's as your team comes in. So I really like this rush into Imperial Mandate. I think Imperial Mandate is a very sleeper OP item that people are overlooking. Yes, the passive procs seem a little underwhelming, but they're not bad. You can proc it on your E range, and if you have your fear up, you can proc it on your W and your Q, and it actually gives a really good mythic bonus. It gives 15 AP per mythic item. So when you have your support item done and Zhonya's done, you have 30 AP on the mythic bonus. That means when you complete this item, you're getting 70 AP for 2,500 gold as a second item, which is kind of insane amount of value for an item this cheap on this spike. But again, this is like a high elo thing, and high elo games end really shortly. They don't go late, and I wouldn't be able to usually even finish my second item if I went more expensive. So Imperial Mandate is really good for my elo. For sure in a lower elo, you can put Everfrost or Night Harvester in. Everfrost so that you can CC chain them with your fears when you go in, and Night Harvester so you can poke them, and when you go in, you get move speed and you can maybe run out. So you can sub either of those in for the Imperial Mandate if you're a lower elo and you just have more gold income. Abyssal Mask, I really like it. It makes you tankier. Again, you want to engage, it makes you tankier, and then when you go in with your big ulti fear combo, Zhonya's, everyone you just fear just taking 15% more damage from your teammates coming in behind. Really good stuff, and again, you can proc it easily if you do your E, which fears them, and then Q over, you can get it, so good stuff into Wardstone. And then again, situational items you can sub in. I'll go more in detail on all this below, so let's just move on quickly. So we got our ability orders. I always max Q, E, W, but again, I might be trying a tank build today on stream probably, if I can get a chance into maybe a Leona or something where I try W max. But for now, I think versus range supports, you want to go Q, E, W, and max QEW, because level 1 versus a ranged champ, you want to just Q poke, then you hit level 2, you hit your E with the fear into Q poke, and then W because, you know, you just got to get all your spells. But versus melee champs, I think you want to take EWQ, because E puts a stack of gloom on the enemy, and I'll go more into the abilities later to get it, but for long short, you can E for gloom stack, auto attack, and get more damage level 1 than you would with Q, and then you take your W level 2, so if Leona tries to E in on you, you can W and fear her and get a shield for yourself. So versus melee champs and versus range. So intro, blah, blah, blah. Let's get into it. So pros and cons. So pros of VEX Support is she's got good base damage. You don't need very many items and you can still do damage. She has decent CC with her fears. She has good engage potential with her ulti W. She has good counter engage. If they go in on your ADC, you can go in on their ADC and probably out damage their support. She can cancel dashes with her fear, and she has self peel with her W and shield. The cons of VEX is she's low range. There's a long cooldown on the fears, so you have to play around that a bit in lane. It's easy to dodge your skill shots, which is probably one of the biggest cons to her, is that her skill shots are dodgeable. She doesn't offer much for the team. She's more just playing for herself, and she's got bad vision control because she doesn't have abilities that can face check like bushes and stuff. For summoner spells, like I said, Ignite, you take it to counter heal on the enemy ADC, so it gives you more kill opportunities, and Exhaust to counter all-in lanes like Tristana, Yasuo, maybe even a Lucian or something, or if the enemy team has lots of assassins. Flash is just, you know, Flash. You gotta take it on everyone. That thing's OP, and yeah. So, for runes, I like Electrocute because, again, your main combos, you hit your EQ auto attack, and boom, you proc electrocute and you can do burst. If you're a lower elo and you don't feel comfortable going for the EQ auto and you just EQ but you don't want to walk in for the auto attack, you can take Dark Harvest. I mean, you'll get less damage out of it in lane than electrocute because it's a longer cooldown. It has more conditions, like they have to be half HP, and it also does less damage than electrocute, so you're going to be doing less damage, but it will have better scaling eventually, so that's cool. So Cheap Shot and Taste the Blood. Cheap Shot's really good because, again, this champ, in my opinion, isn't much of a poke champ. She's a counter engage champ, and you'll just get more damage on your counter engage. But if you are playing her and trying to poke a lot with Qs, Taste the Blood can get you a lot of healing in. Zombie Ward, Ghost Poro. Take either or. I like Zombie Ward for late game vision control, but you can take Ghost Poro for early game vision control. I usually say Ghost Poro is better in lower elos because, you know, you can place wards and people won't sweep them and they'll expire. And zombie ward's better in higher elo because the enemy's warding more and you can get more zombie ward stacks. So yeah, here you could take anything here really, but I really like Relentless Hunter on supports. Gives you better roams and stuff. Good stuff. Second Wind is, so for secondaries, I would usually take the Perfect Timing and the Biscuits. Perfect Timing so I can get my Zanyas quicker, and Biscuits so that I can just have some mana sustain in lane so I can spam spells. But if you're facing a high poke lane, you can take Second Wind so that you can have some sustain, and then I'd combo it with Overgrowth because it just gives you some late game health to help you be tankier. And standard Mage Runes, AP armor. So abilities. So the most confusing part about her kit that people are confused about is her Doom and Gloom passive. So her passive has two parts, Doom and Gloom. Doom is really simple. She has a little bar under her mana over her head. When that bar turns red, that means her next ability will fear. Other than her ulti, her next ability will fear. Really simple. When her bar turns red, your next ability will fear. That's Doom. Gloom is when an enemy dashes around you, they get a stack of Gloom, and if you hit them with an ability or you auto attack them, you take the Gloom stack out. It just basically does damage, but it also reduces the cooldown on your fear. So yeah, you want to make sure you're collecting those stacks, reduce the cooldown on your fear so that you can use it more often. Also note that your E gives a stack of Gloom also, but you don't really have to think about this. The Gloom is confusing when you think about it, but when you play the game realistically, you just automatically are collecting them. You don't really have to think about the Gloom. Just think about the Doom. When you have the red, you fear. Gloom will kind of automatically happen without you really having to think about it. So your Q is a poke spell. It starts off really slow and then goes really fast at the end in the smallest path. I've found through testing that you can shoot it in the bush and the slow part won't be seen. And then as soon as it goes fast, you can get it. So if you stand a bit back in the bush, you start your Q, they won't see the wind up, and then all of a sudden it'll go out to try and help you hit it better. Your W is an AoE damage that gives you a shield, and it's really good for countering engages like Leona E. If you keep your fear up and you just auto attack her ass and keep your fear up and Leona tries to go in, you W and then counter engage on their ADC with an EQ. Yeah, this will be really good versus those kind of lanes. Your E is like an AoE slow that explodes and puts a Gloom stack on them. This is your main trading tool. You usually, when you have your fear up, don't want to lead with a Q because it's very dodgeable. You throw an E out, hit the fear, you hit your Q on top, which will consume the Gloom stack and do damage. So E into Q, good combo. And your R is like a Kaisa. Have you ever played Taisa? When you go W, you tag someone, then you can ult to them. That's what your R is. You shoot out an ability, you tag an enemy, and you can fly into melee range of them. If you kill the enemy, you can reset it and go and fly into a new enemy. Again, this does not proc your fear. So the good thing is if you have your fear up, you can R someone, fly in, and then you can AoE fear with your W and throw your whole cooldowns out and then pop Zanyas, have your team come in and kill that target, and then your R comes off cooldown again and you can do it again. So as I said, versus range champs, I like to take Q, E, W, because versus range champs, again, your E gives a stack of Gloom. So versus you can't really abuse this versus range, because if you're versus a range support and you hit an E and you walk into auto, they get to trade back on you, and then it's not as efficient. So versus range champs, I like to take Q level 1 so I can just spam Q and be safe. But versus melee champs, I like to take E level 1 because against melee champs, I can hit the E, get a Gloom stack, and auto attack the enemy Leona, and now I can get that 2 parts of damage off in one trade and get a more efficient trade. Against the melee champs, I like to take W level 2 because again, once I have level 2, I can keep my fear up and just start auto attack harassing, and if they try to engage, I can pop W and then E their ADC. So for items, I would usually go Spell Thieves, but if you're in a lane where you can't trade and stuff, you can also take Relic Shield and just, be more passive. And I like to take the sorcery shoes, Baba Hype. I like to core items. I rush Zanyas, like I said above, Zanyas, so I can just go in, engage in Zanyas into Imperial Mandate. Like I said, this item for my elo, I want a cheap item that I can spike, and that's exactly what this does. Oops, I gotta fix that. For 2,500 gold, not 1,500 gold, I get 70 AP because I'm getting it second. 70 AP for 2,500 gold is absolutely insane. Like, if you look at Void Staff here, right? it's giving for 2700 gold 70 AP. This is giving 70 AP for 2500 gold. So you can see what I'm saying, right? Like this one is 2500 gold and it's giving 80 AP, right? So like it's giving efficient AP for the price is what I'm saying on a good spike. But if you're not in my elo and you have lots of income and games go longer, as I say, I prefer Mandate because I'm a high elo ego player who needs cheap item spikes, but in lower elos that games go later, you get more gold for items like this. So in lower elo, you could go these. I'll go into them in a sec. Abyssal Mask makes you tankier. You can go in and do your combo and Zanya's, and your whole team gets 15% damage and to follow. And Wardstone, amazing item for 1100 gold. Again, in my games, they go short and don't end yours really early before I can even finish my full build. So this feels great for 1100 gold. But if you're in games where you're finishing your full build, you could sub it in with any of these things. So again, Everfrost, great item. You can use it. You can go in with your combo, fear them, and then out of the fear, Everfrost them to extend the CC chain, and just overall great item. It gives HP and mana, so good stuff. Night Harvester is great. It doesn't give mana, so you might have more mana issues with this than if you went Imperial Mandate or Night Harvester or Everfrost. But if you are good at managing your mana, this is a perfectly fine option to go with. It's good for poking, it's good for bursting, and it's good for if you go in, you proc your W with an AoE W, and you get the move speed from it. So great item also. Void Staff is great if the enemy's stacking MR, so that you can shred the MR. If your team needs anti-heal and no one's getting it, you can get Morello's. It's a good item. You really want items with HP, in my opinion. She's very similar to Nico, because you want to be going into melee range. So this item gives HP and anti-heal, so great item. Banshees, I prefer, again, Abyssal Mask, because again, I think you really want HP on her. But if you want to just be doing more poke damage and stuff, it's a great item for MR, and you can use it to block things like Blitz hooks or melee hooks. So good stuff. And finally, the Cosmic Drive, good item, gives move speed, HP, CDR, good stuff, so you can just run around spamming abilities. This is the kind of item that I would probably sub out the Wardstone for if I was going to sub something out for it. So yeah, I didn't put like Death Cap or any of that in here because I feel like, in my opinion, those are too expensive for support. But you know, if you're low elo like bronze and you're just like backing with crazy amount of gold because you just killed a bunch of people, you can go for Death Cap. So again, I'm going to be playing this on stream whenever I can. It'll probably be banned a lot, but I'm going to try. You know, like, comment, subscribe in the video. Again, on Monday, I'll be probably doing a tank Nico game, and I might try it with this girl, like a similar build, so we'll see how that goes. And there should be a link to this guide below in the comments, so check that out if you want. Thank you guys for watching.